Right, so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you word for word how you should be generating hot leads in your DMs. As always, please hit that subscribe button. Now, very quickly, I'm just going to move to my other screen here. I'm just going to run through some extra little elements here. So just before we get into the real world example of what this is all about, I'm going to run through 3 areas here. And I'm going to be showing you like an example DM conversation of mine so you can see what I say, how I say it, and why I say it. Okay. So number 1, the most efficient system in which DMs should be done as an affiliate. This is really important because a lot of people online focus on DMs to some degree, whether it's to try and close people into sales or maybe even for lead generation, but they don't do it in the right way. A lot of it isn't rooted in the right type of system. And this is kind of, I guess, the mission of what the DM Academy is all about. We're moving people away from the one-to-many traffic strategies because those types of methodologies are absolutely not needed for people to start generating cash inside of their business. Ultimately, that's what it's all about, right? Affiliate marketers come online, they have a circumstance that they want to change in their life. And then from there, it's really important that we provide them the most efficient process for them to be able to start changing those circumstances. Almost everyone in the space comes into the space and focuses on these one-to-many traffic strategies. So branding themselves like they're the guru, the mentor, the teacher, the educator, creating content with the same topics and themes as other people. And the reason they can't do anything totally unique in terms of content other than share their story and bare their soul and show vulnerability, which is something I don't believe that people should have to do in order to build trust inside of their business. What they do is like they're literally saying the same topics and themes as everyone else because they're lacking authenticity, they're lacking results, they're lacking experience. Those people are also told to focus on the technical aspects of building out their funnel, attaching it to like an email autoresponder to build out their email list. But they haven't got any of the confidence, the experience and the authenticity to make those methodologies work when they're first starting, or maybe they've been doing it for a number of years and they're struggling to generate consistent sales. That's going to come down to the methodology of what they're focusing on. So for me, like even if someone is utilizing DMs to some degree inside of their business, the system in which DMs fit within that whole realm of being an affiliate marketer, that's really important. That's what the DM Academy has been set up for. The DM Academy has been set up for to have the most efficient system for DMs for an affiliate. That also appreciates that the affiliate, when they first starting, they ain't got results, they ain't got experience, they ain't got authenticity. Like right now, they haven't got the confidence to make things work. So they shouldn't be branding themselves as the guru, the teacher, the educator, the mentor, right? They shouldn't be trying to make the sale themselves, because when you're trying to make the sales yourself in the make money online space, if you haven't achieved the outcome, then there's this like very awkward scenario that happens frequently for people where they haven't got the result, they're talking about cost, and then people start asking stuff like, okay, well, how much money have you generated through what you're promoting? And suddenly the conversation falls flat. Or some people just try and fake it till they make it. Again, not good, right? And when you think about like the level of saturation and congestion in the marketplace, well, that level of competitiveness when I started in 2016 is far worse now in 2023, like far worse. And really, when you're thinking about it, if what an affiliate is promoting is not an efficient methodology, so it's not kind of designed to help people change their circumstance based on their expectations of what they're getting, well, then what are you really serving? Like you're serving people and not giving them the most efficient process. Doesn't make sense. Any business should be serving people to the highest level in order to generate the result, the outcome, in the quickest way possible, in the most ethical, quickest way possible, right? Why wouldn't you do that, right? Because otherwise what people do is they just bring them in to the same one-to-many traffic strategy, adding more competitiveness and congestion to the marketplace. Let's say they luckily get a sale, right, using one of those methodologies. Well, that person's then coming to square one of that whole process, starting off at square one, and is in a place where it's like, okay, this is even tougher for that person. Like, because it's even more competitive now. Like there's a point, that's almost that whole one-to-many traffic strategy for beginner affiliates or people who are struggling. It's almost like a pyramid scheme in itself, because it becomes so much more difficult the more people who are doing that particular strategy, because it's totally listen to me methods. It's putting content out there and letting other people kind of look at it. And when it's the same topics, the same themes, a lot of fatigue happens. So for me, the most efficient system in which DMs are done, is where DMs are just for an affiliate is lead generation. And for me, the whole DM Academy has been set up in this way. My affiliates come to me, they run through the training in the program. By the way, they get unlimited direct support. We do weekly coaching calls with a lot, right? And their focus is on implementing my 5-step DM framework, which is step like the point 3 that I'm going to mention in this video. Focusing on the 5-step DM framework to bring strangers, right? Because that's what you are when you first meet someone. Strangers, turn them into hot leads for one of my free offers. Okay. And then from there, because I have got the authenticity, the results, the confidence, the experience, because I've been doing this a long period of time, right? Like I'm talking like even before online, in the call center world, all the way to here, like over the last 7 years, and for the last like 4 years, rocking out, exactly what I'm talking about today. Well, yeah, it's much easier for me to close sales. Why should that be put on the affiliate who might not have the results on day one? Hasn't got the results on day one, might not have the results on day 30, day 60, day 90, focusing on the one-to-many traffic strategies. Like, let's just do this properly. Affiliate marketing is a great business model because you're able to leverage people with results, right? But so many people have such an ego that they only believe the only way is for them to be like the person who's building the list, doing the funnel, like creating the content, building out their own following and stuff like that. Like there's a time and place for that. For me, it's about people getting results in the most efficient way possible because that builds up confidence, that builds up their authenticity, like that builds up longevity in them rather than them going like, okay, I'll stop doing that. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to do this now because they're trying to chase something that doesn't really exist. Well, I'm telling you now, the most efficient way to do DMs is the quickest way to generate results as well is by reducing all of the skill sets that is needed and focusing on one skill set and then passing the leads over to me as an example to close the sale. So what you're about to see is a DM conversation because I do the same thing. I do like the elements of emails and content as well because I am the product owner, I'm the program owner, and the emails and the content that I provide isn't just for me, for my leads, for my traffic, it's for all of my clients' traffic as well. Like that's really important. Like this piece of content is for my leads, my traffic, as well as every single one of my clients' leads and traffic. Like that's really important. So they don't have to do it when they first start. I'm doing that stuff for them. But other than that, I'm doing the DM, like everything I teach, I'm doing it. Do it every single day. So like when I'm talking about like, I know this stuff, like it's not just something where it's like, I started doing this in 2019 and then like, yeah, I got some results and then, I start teaching it, but I don't do it anymore. Like so many people out there. No, I do this every day. Why wouldn't I? It's the best strategy that's out there. So you're going to see an actual DM conversation, me turning a stranger into a lead, right? Hot lead. And then, of course, that process then turns into like me closing the sale, of course. And if that was an affiliate of mine, then it's the same thing. It's DM conversation and I close the sale. That's how it works. Now, the second piece, what you offer in your DMs really matters as well. Okay, what you offer in DMs really matters as well. Let me just turn my other camera off there. What you offer in your DMs is really important. Goes hand in hand with everything I've just saying about the one-to-many traffic strategies and all of that stuff. Like everything, like if you're doing DMs as a methodology, like then it's all about making people problem aware. Problem aware being awareness of the actual issue in the industry of all of the one-to-many traffic strategies, the level of competitiveness, congestion, and saturation in the marketplace, right? So if my offer or what I ask my affiliates or myself to promote is a one-to-many traffic strategy, or it's like a basic kind of get to know affiliate marketing, which then focuses on the one-to-many traffic strategies, then it's like there's a disconnect there. Like so many people, if they're focusing on DMs in any way, shape or form in their business, but then they're promoting a one-to-many traffic strategy, well, like the vast majority of people are already in a one-to-many traffic strategy type of program. So again, that level of competitiveness is kind of rife. It makes it even more difficult. Like people are literally making it more difficult for themselves. Like, and my job and our mission in the academy and what we do is to just get people like to take a step back, logically look at their business. Like if they've invested into something, like, look, chalk it up as a bad decision. Doesn't mean that you have to like continue doing something that doesn't logically make sense. And it's important to like be able to make those decisions. So for me, like if everything is about traffic for me, like in terms of like the methodology of how you convert leads into sales, well, then the offer needs to be representative of that. So my free offers are all based around like the moving away from the one-to-many traffic strategies for the particular reasons I've mentioned and more, and moving into DMs, into a more efficient way of running a business, right? Because that really matters. And then the structure of the conversation is imperative. So the 5-step DM framework that I created in the call center way back in the day. I've coached like hundreds, if not thousands of people in the call center, let alone online, to be picking up the phone or dialing numbers on the phone and rocking out this 5-step framework. I tweaked it, changed little bits, amended little bits, brought it online into the DMs. And over the last 4 years, I've generated multiple 6 figures with it. But like the conversation aspect is really important. It's not like DMs and like just to overcome this like maybe wrong kind of myth in regards to what people think here. DMs is not just like talking to someone and going, oh, you're struggling. Are you struggling to get sales? Yes, you are. Cool. Try this instead. Like, nah, not interested in that. That's such a terrible, boring, dire way of going about creating leads. Like, terrible. Like, there's no skill set in that. There's no skill set in going like, what are you struggling with? Are you struggling with that? Try this. There's no skill set in that. And because there's no skill set in that, guarantee everyone will be doing that piece. In the same way that if you're creating content and the program that you're in is saying to yourself, just copy and paste these posts. Hey, guess what? Everyone's going to be doing it, which creates fatigue, creates too much competitiveness. The reason you're listening to me right now is because this content is unlike everyone else's. Hey, if I hadn't generated multiple 6 figures inside of my business, I wouldn't be able to create this piece of content, right? So it comes down to authenticity. Comes down to experience and confidence. Those elements matter. And when you're just starting or you haven't got results, you haven't got those bits. So what people rely on is sharing their story, like bearing their soul, being totally vulnerable. Doesn't sit well for me. Doesn't sit well for me at all, any of that stuff. When I go to buy shoes down the high street, the owner of the shop doesn't come out and go like, look, I'm just going to tell you about my story, how I got into like the shoe industry and stuff. No, they don't. So like online, it's just almost like a focus that people don't need to be having. They don't need to be doing those elements. Like they just need to have a more efficient process, a more sales-driven process, like in terms of running their business, because they've got circumstances that they need to change in their life. So set up your business in the right way. And for me, like lead generation is about rinsing and repeating. You know, again, like just go back to the call center. We used to take like 300 calls each per day. Like when I was on the phones, I used to do it. When I was coaching people and running the call center, that's what they were doing as well. 300 calls each per day. Like, and when things are rinse and repeat, things can be predictable at that point. You'll end up knowing like, okay, how many leads do I need to generate to earn X amount of money? That's a great way to like be building your business, right? You don't want to be building your business in a way where it's like, okay, I want to leave my 9-to-5 job. Cool. Well, if you've got no stability and security in knowing how your numbers translate to cash, well, it's like, how are you going to feel confident in what you're doing? Like, are you just going to hope like how normal people like kind of talk online? It's just like, you just got to keep trusting the process. It's like, cool. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to leave my 9-to-5 job doing that, right? I need numbers. I need to understand how many leads I need to generate, how many people I need to speak to, what I need to say in the conversations. I need to know this process. I need to know it correctly. I need to implement it, master it. And then I know like I can generate like 21 leads and that will generate me like 3 to 5K as an example, onwards. I just spitballing some numbers there, right? So that's really important. Like all of that stuff, super, super, super important, right? So let me share with you like an actual DM conversation here. So this is actually taken from a document that's actually inside of the DM Academy. I'm just sharing with you one of my conversations here. I've got other examples of my affiliates conversations, but I thought I'd share my own here for this one. And I do this because I run through each of the 5 steps of the framework inside of the training, inside of module 6, inside of the Academy. But then also I'm giving like examples, you know. And so like I want like everyone who runs through it, it's like they're fully aware of the mission of what we're trying to achieve. They understand what the problem is, and they can actually see real world examples of conversations from my affiliates as well as myself of how to turn strangers into hot leads in the right way. And then it's their job to then implement the strategy and have me as support, like literally unlimited direct support with myself in order to do that. So here we go, DM Convo 3. So
hey name, so I've taken out the name for privacy. Just seen you on one of my suggested friends. Take it that means you're a fellow affiliate marketer too, right? That's a break the ice message, right? That message I've used since 2019. When it comes to messages that you send to people online, right? Again, it's just about numbers, right? Just about numbers. All it is about numbers and response rate. So response rate's really important. How many of those messages can you send out per day? And how many people are responding back to those messages? That is really important. Okay. So typically speaking, the optimal realm is 30% response rate. If you can get like 30 to 40% response rate plus through that break the ice message that I put there, which you will be able to do. Again, like there's other training in the academy and my support that can help facilitate that to that level, right? And I've even got like trackers for people to like track like their numbers so they can see what response rate they've got on a daily basis. Like, you know that you're going to be speaking to enough people. Okay, so that's really important. So anytime you would see anyone going like, like this, how does that message work? It's like, I don't base anything on emotion. I really don't care about the emotion side of it. What I really care about is like the numbers. Like, so 30% response rate, great. So that is my break the ice message. That's step one. Then I move into like building rapport and uncovering the struggle. So they've said, yes, I am. I've gone, that's cool. Good to connect in that case. How long you been doing it for? So this, building rapport. Like, there's two types of rapport, right? There's relevant rapport and irrelevant rapport. Relevant rapport is rapport around the topic of what you're speaking about. Irrelevant rapport is everything else. So like you could be looking at things like someone's like holidays they've been on, like anything not to do like the weather, those kind of bits. I'm not saying talk about the weather, but like let's just give you an example of irrelevant rapport. In lead generation, especially in this first conversation, you want to be making it relevant. So they've just confirmed that they're an affiliate marketer. For me, what's really important then, I just want to know how long they've been doing it for. I'm building rapport about the thing that we've already found common ground about. And the reason I want to do that is that tells me a lot about people. Like every question you ask in a DM conversation is really all about how much information, what are you learning from asking that question? You know, it's not just about asking questions for the sake of asking questions. It's asking questions to understand what information do I need. So like through this conversation here, like if someone's saying which they've just said here, just a little while, which kind of says that they're, just getting started. Maybe someone else says like, I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years. Instantly, I'm going to know, like kind of like have a better idea of where this person's at in their business or what kind of experience they could potentially have. How far along in the journey are they? Good bit of information for me to know. They've said just a little while, right? This is my now first attempt at uncovering a struggle. So remember, we've got break the ice. Second step is building rapport, uncovering the struggle. So they said, just a little while, I've gone with, okay, gotcha. Nice one for getting started. How have you been finding it all so far? So how have you been finding it all so far? That's my unbiased approach to uncovering a struggle, right? I never assume that people are struggling, because that showcases an agenda, which I don't want. Yes, I have got an agenda, but it's no point me sharing the agenda within the first kind of couple of messages because people's walls are up, right? So it's really important for me to not come across in that way. How you've been finding it all so far for me is the first opportunity for people to go like, yeah, it's not going great or it is going great, like whatever it is. It doesn't matter entirely, what the answer is at this point. If they do say like things are going good, we still flow through the 5-step DM framework in the way it's intended. We still make them problem aware because sometimes, especially online, people give, and especially when their walls are up, they say things like, yeah, going good, but that could mean a variety of different things. In reality, going good for me is generating consistent sales in a business, having confidence in what they're doing, understanding their audience, and being able to be disciplined on knowing exactly what they're doing and rocking out the most efficient process, whether like to promote as well as conducting themselves. So like, that's what I always think of that stuff. Fortunately, in this conversation, easier for me in the sense of like, they've said a bit overwhelming in all honesty. So now the key here is I've broken the ice, I've built rapport, I've uncovered a struggle, right? Okay, so the key now is like, we've got to start thinking about, okay, what is my offer? Okay, so my offer, like the offer that I am presenting in this conversation is my masterclass training. 60-minute masterclass, which teaches people how to bank thousands in their DMs without content ads, building email lists or like personally selling anything themselves, right? So like, or any technical aspects, any of that stuff, right? So it's focusing, like I've said, the offer matters. So if I'm talking about an offer that's based around traffic, which is what all of my free offers are all about, because it's all about the DM side, right? Well, then it makes it very important that this next step in the process, which is called probe and understand, it makes sense that this part of the 5-step DM framework is built around traffic, because it's no point me being able to offer someone something that's based around traffic if I can't understand what it is they're currently doing for traffic. And if I want to make someone problem aware, which is like talking about the one-to-many traffic strategies in the industry and stuff like that, how can I honestly do that if I'm not understanding where they're at with traffic anyway, right? So it's almost like, okay, I need to understand what this person's doing for traffic for me to be able to make them problem aware. And I need to make them problem aware for me to then to be able to offer something as a solution, right? So it's almost like problem solution. But in reality, it's kind of more problem. Hey, here's a justification for that problem solution, right? So problem, overwhelm, right? Okay, so let's now probe into, why that could be. It's going to be about traffic, right? 100%. Anyone's problems are going to be based ultimately, if you zoom back as far back as you can, it's going to be about traffic, overwhelming traffic. If they're struggling with like technical aspects of doing a funnel, well, that's going to be based around their traffic methodology, because like I guarantee you in DM Academy, people don't need to do any of that stuff based on my process of methodology of driving traffic. So I come in with, well, I appreciate you sharing that. I think everyone feels overwhelmed when they're starting something new. It passes though. What traffic strategy are you using? And just quickly, guys, like how I'm forming my responses. I'll do another video on this for sure. But how I'm forming my responses is done in a very particular way. You notice it's not an interrogation, right? It's not like, hey, are you an affiliate marketer? How long have you been doing it for? How you been finding it all so far? What traffic strategy are you using? Because that's not good tonality. That's not a good way of speaking with people or anything like that. So I don't do that. I've got a very particular kind of framework of how I form my responses. Won't mention it here because, we're talking about like the actual words and, the conversation and the structure here, but I'll do it on another video. So what traffic strategy are you using? Facebook organic, right? So Facebook organic, the typical stuff, right? So a lot of branding on the profile side. That'll be creating content on the profile, more than likely bringing someone into like a funnel and emails, building a list and all of that kind of stuff. So here I'm still in this probing and understanding. So I'm probing and understanding. What that means is like, I want to understand what they're doing for traffic. I want to be able to understand where they're at in regards to that part of the process, because more information I can gain from here. The next step, which is dropping advice and making the offer. When I drop advice, that's technically me making them problem aware. So all of this information I get now really helps me make someone problem aware in a right way, which is tailored to them. And then I'll go and make them the offer. Right. So creating content on your profile. I'm trying to confirm that information with them. Yes. That's interesting. What's your thoughts on the whole creating content strategy? Like, again, probing and understanding. I'm getting their thoughts on it, right? I want to understand. Like they said, they're overwhelmed. Like chances are like they're overwhelmed because of what they're doing. Okay, just trying to stay consistent with it all really. So consistency seems to be a bit of a problem, right? So I say, well, I respect the hustle. I really do. Want my advice as to what I think you should do. They've said I'm always open to advice. So this is where I rock out voice messages typically, right? This might be like a 3-minute voice message. And just to kind of like share with you like the ethos of what I say here, because I won't get you just to kind of listen to it on this call, but you definitely be able to hear it in like the DM Academy and those kind of bits. What I say here is I'm making people problem aware. Like the mission of what I'm all about. I'm stopping people from focusing on these one-to-many traffic strategies due to the level of saturation, congestion, and competitiveness in the marketplace. What's really important for me is for people to focus on conversation, reduce their skill sets down to one, and not even have to focus on making the sale. Like work in partnership with someone who's generated the results so that you can focus your attention on lead generation in the right way, making people problem aware. So like, and what I mean by that is like making people like need what you have to offer. Like, need it. Like, it's very different. If you can change someone's perception in terms of what they're focusing on and provide them a free solution, like in terms of a free offer, well, that person is bought into that whole thing in a very different way. So that's what the drop advice bit is. It's like making people aware of that. And in the academy, we focus in depth of like how to mention that. I give multiple voice messaging recording for people to learn about. I even do some written stuff as well. We focus on that in our weekly coaching calls. We focus on that in the unlimited direct support inside of Messenger, so that people have not a script, but people can share their own version of it, you know, and providing it's done with belief, providing it's done with like the strong attitude and like a level of intensity to that as well. Well, you're able to change people's perceptions, right? From focusing on what they're focusing on to focusing on what we do. So they said, yeah, definitely makes sense. Wow, you've changed my whole view on what I'm doing. Thank you. This is now where I then go to make the offer, right? So step 4 is dropping advice, which is the problem aware piece, and then making the offer. So I've said, aha, that's awesome. So my recommendation for you is to actually focus on the one-on-one instead of the one-to-many through DMs. You can be so much more humanizing to someone in a one-on-one convo, just like we are. Like, and I really like alluding to people like, think about what you've just had as a conversation with me. I'm not talking about like, hey, I've generated X amount of money. Like, it's not even about money, what I'm talking about here, right? It's actually about like changing people's perceptions on what they should be focusing on and having themselves look at the business in a more logical way. Everyone can do that, right? Like, you could do that. If you've got no results, do you think you could do that? Like, 100% you could. It's not an awkward conversation about like, how much money have you made and stuff like that. It's not about money. The more that people start talking about money, the more that the eyeballs come onto them in terms of how much money they've made. It's not about that. We don't want that, right? And you can do it without creating content like you are now. Got a 60-minute masterclass that runs over the whole thing. Want the link for it? Absolutely, please. Thank you. I dropped the link for it. They said, thank you, getting on it now. And then the follow-up part, step 5, follow-up, you know, in terms of the lead generation part, is literally seeing whether they've signed in for it, like signed up to it. You know, you signed in yet? Yes, I have, watching now. Now, if that was an affiliate of mine, what they would do is they'd pop their information, the lead's information, into a lead form that would ping over automatically to me. And I would then reach out to that lead, and I would then start having conversation with them to make them an offer to bring them into the Adeem Academy. And I'll provide them with real-time lead updates. So what I'm doing, you know, with their lead. And if there's anything that they need to be doing in follow-up, I will be able to let them know in regards to that. And that is like how you take a stranger and turn them into a hot lead, right? So when you see stuff online where people are like, this is the number one way to find buyer leads or hot leads. It's like, no, like hot leads aren't just found. Buyer leads aren't just found. Like, they are created. So you can take a stranger here, right? And you can turn them into a hot lead through the way that you form a conversation. And when you don't need to focus on any real massive focus on branding, content, ads, building email lists, personally selling anything yourself, and you can just master DM conversations. And for the benefit of this, like conversation in terms of a 5-step DM framework that you can rinse and repeat, and you know you're unplugging as many affiliates as possible from this brainwash of an affiliate matrix, and you're able to earn like near enough $500 per sale. Just makes sense, and it's efficient because you don't even need to make the sale yourself, you know. And then guess what? When you start generating some results, that's when you can start adding these other elements to the mix, like the content piece and stuff, because you're coming from a place of confidence, authenticity, the whole lot. Makes a real big difference, right? So let me know in the comments below. Let me get myself up on screen here. Let me know in the comments below, guys, how you guys thought of this video, like in terms of what you thought of it, anything you want me to be focusing on to showcase to yourself. And remember, smash that subscribe button if you've enjoyed the value. I will see you next time.